you know?
Right.
So if they can contain him and put some pressure, that defense, the way that defense is going to win is through that defensive line and those linebackers playing smart and supporting those guys. Not the cornerbacks and defensive backfield. It's the defensive line. It all starts right there. Cam Jordan, again, he has to have a monster game this game. Kruger has to have an impact game. Fairley and whoever's next to him, they're going to have
They need to have an impact
solid
game, but not
they're going to be
people.
Right, they got to be solid because Carlos Hyde is coming off injury, you know. So they've got to be able to be disciplined in this game. That's the critical point.
There you go. Keyword.
If they can be disciplined, man, and on the offensive side, just play smart. You don't have to look at the big plays. Just play the ball you're able to play with control ball. And that defensive line of the San Francisco 49ers, the one thing they do like to do still is tee off on you if you're going to go back. And you know, Ahmad Brooks leads all players in sacking Drew Brees. So can they contain him? Can they contain Bowman as well? So the way you contain those two guys is what you did against Seattle, wear the defense out with running and hit. Remember, Professor, last week, what did I tell you you do to a bully?
Punch him in the mouth.
You got to punch him in the mouth.
Yep.
And that's what they did to Seattle. They punched the bully in the mouth. And this is the other bully that always gave you fits. You got to go and punch them in the mouth as well.
In the mouth too. All right.
Yep. That's a very good symbolism for them. Yep. That is the truth. With this game, it's going to be imperative that them intangibles
come into play.
Yeah, right.
Because the Saints are the disciplinary of the Saints. All this year has driven me crazy with the foolish penalties of the offside or the false starts, and even Drew and Coach Payton are struggling to get the plays in and calling wasteful time at the end of games, you know, and stuff like that. So it's going to be imperative that by week 9, we're in week 9 now. You should have gotten out all the kinks. I mean, you know, this is week 8, week 9 for the NFL. You should have gotten out all the kinks. You're not in preseason anymore. You're not in the first half, or this is the end of the second quarter of your season. So I'm expecting a clean performance. And in this game, it's going to be crucial that Coby Fleener and Josh Hill at the tight end position. I need more from them. Drew has always relied on his tight ends. He's not getting that performance week in and week out. 2 catches from the tight ends or 3 catches, that's not going to be enough.
Right.
We need more from those tight ends. So it should be an interesting game out there in the Bay Area. Kyle was last week successfully predicted that the Saints would beat Seattle. So since Steve and I don't pick against Kyle, that leaves up to you to lead the fans with your pick and score for this game.
Well, I'm going to stay consistent from Wednesday night, 31-17 Saints.
All right.
31-17, Who Dat Nation? You heard KT say 31 New Orleans Saints, 17 for the San Francisco 49ers. Diva, if the Saints should prevail, as Kyle has, I know the professor's word for the day alluded to, do you think the professor's other words, do you think the Saints have the propensity to come back home and then beat the Denver Broncos?
One step at a time. Let's get through San Francisco.
Yeah. I agree.
Let's worry about Denver when we get to Denver.
I have to agree with you, Diva. I mean, we got to play these games one at a time, because I believe they went into the first game of the season kind of overlooking what the Oakland Raiders could do.
Raiders could bring.
And you know, when they allowed those guys to score that 2-point conversion, it's stupid things like if they're on the 2-yard line, why am I standing 5 yards in the end zone? Easy pitch and catch.
That wasn't the Saints didn't overlook the Raiders. The Raiders were favored in the game all the preseason and everything.
I understand that, but you still at
home. The Raiders are.
I understand that.
The Raiders predicted to be. What the Saints lost that game is because, number one, when they got up 24-10, Coach Sean Payton, Pete Carmichael, and Drew Brees took the accelerator
exactly.
And they went into the third quarter with a huge lead and let the Raiders score.
That's not where I'm coming from. I agree with you. I'm not disputing you. But what I'm saying is not playing smarter, overlooking the situation, not understanding the scenarios. And how old
are they, Kyle? As I keep telling y'all, the mistakes you see from the Saints, except for Nick Farley, with those cornerbacks,
young guys,
they're very young. Crawley and Harris, those guys are young. They have done outstanding. The Saints have lost games in terms of what's good about this game against San Francisco is the fact that the Saints have done this year in and year out under Coach Sean Payton. Games they should win, they lose. Let's go all the way back to 2007, 8, even the Super Bowl year when they lost to Tampa Bay, 2010. They lost the game to the Cleveland Browns and Arizona Cardinals. 2011, the vaulted Sharif and I ranting against the Rams and Tampa Bay. 2012, you've got to remember this about the Saints. They are playing in so many close games. The Saints have lost now over the last 5 years close to 30-plus games by a touchdown or less. So it is the issue with the Saints now is you have a young team with a lack of continuity. Drew Brees has to carry this team. The offense has to carry this team. And I do not think that the Saints have come to that realization and understanding that, because that's why that Seattle game should have never been that close. The Kansas City game, the Saints lost that game off of 3 plays. 2 big plays, screen play, a pass to that fast wide receiver, and Drew Brees intercept and Mark Ingram fumble. The Saints have lost games by a total of 8 plays. That's the difference in them being 7-0 and 3-4. They've got to transition the mistakes out from these younger players. I don't know. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. I say this all the time. Young players are gonna be young players. And that's the area that the Saints have to work on to get the football IQ level, to the level it needs to be, because that's what happened on the Brandon Coleman play. That is an example of, unfortunately, your football level of thinking was not great at that moment when you made that play. And that's what happens when you have a rebuilding team.
Hey, Professor, I agree. I agree with you. I agree. Here's the problem I have. We had a guy that we said was going to be the leader on that team at middle linebacker. A middle linebacker could easily who have seen these scenarios for many years in the National Football League. He should have been the one coaching that young cornerback to come up closer. You see what I'm saying? Is that I agree they don't understand the scenarios. They are young. So where are we going to get the leadership from our veteran crew? Is it just Kenny Vaccaro coming in saying, hey, we need to be better as a defense? Why aren't we getting it from Cam Jordan? Why aren't we getting it from what's that other boy name? Supposed to be back there. We're paying him $50-something million. Oh, Jarvis Bird. You see what I'm saying? Those are the guys well, but if Roman was on the field, I'm pretty sure Roman would have said something. You see? But that's all I'm saying.
Even if you're watching, you still on the team. You could still be leadership. You didn't be here.
But if you're on the field, down in the end zone, Roman Harper couldn't run down there to tell him what to do. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, look, discipline, knowing the situation, because you know why the New England Patriots are the best team of the past decade and a half? Is because Bill Belichick
in every stadium and in everybody's locker room and on their practice field.
Yeah, because Bill Belichick does the best job at scouting everybody else, but he also does the best job at scouting his own players. And he also does the best job at running the scenarios by these players over and over and over again. And if you are one of those players that do not study the way he wants you to study and be able to be a locker room, a film junkie as well, he'll get rid of you just like he did Jamie Collins. That's what it came up. He did. That kid did not want to study,
and that's why
and he got rid of
it.
Right.
Because evidently these guys are not going home when they leave practice. They're not going home and studying film. They're not putting in extra hours, and that is what showed up in the first 5 games. Now, lately, it looks like something is settling in and starting to hit home in these last 3 games. That San Diego game, the Saints were fortunate to win. That was a gimme. But these last 3 games, it looks like something is starting to show up with the team in terms of with the defense, that maybe somebody's putting in some extra hours. And maybe Kenny Vaccara's message has hit home to the entire defensive unit. We'll have to see. So let's hope our boys, Black and Gold, Who Dat Nation, that they can go out and roll out in San Francisco, come back with a victory. So we are out of time, not out of talk. Thank you so much, Diva, for being on with me tonight. Thank you, KT. I am the Professor Derek Stevens. We will keep you in tune with the Saints. We'll find out what happened in San Francisco, and then we'll prepare next week for the Denver Broncos. Don't forget, Tuesday night, Who Dat Confession, right here on Saints News Radio with Brian and Rhea. Wednesday night, Kyle T and the crew. Friday night, we'll be back, and check out Coach Rick Daly as he presents the techniques, the impact, what went wrong, what went right on the Coach's Corner. From all of us at Saints News Radio, we thank you for allowing us to come into your homes, your tablets, your desktop, your mobile devices for another week. We love you. Thank you for all the support. Continue to join us. Continue to tell people about us on Facebook. Go out there and join us at Saints News. Download the app and all of the other social media devices where you can find us. God bless you, everybody. Have a safe and wonderful weekend. Don't forget to go out and vote on Tuesday. Love you, Divas. Love you, Kyle. Good night, everybody.
Love you. Good night.
Who Dat? And congrats, Cubs.
Keep